All right, well, it happened. We have officially become that guy. And by we, I mean me. Because I don't necessarily know if you have done any of these little tips and tricks to shave some weight out of your pack. But as I'm going through my gear, getting ready for a backpacking trip, I'm looking at my gear and there's a couple pieces of my backpacking gear that kind of give me a little bit of a chuckle because I may or may not have cracked jokes and made a little bit of fun of people who did these things, and now I'm doing these things to shave weight out of my backpack. But that is just one of those things that comes with the territory of becoming a gram weenie. Is you really start to think about ways to shave weight in your backpack. And we're going to talk about some of the most ridiculous, insane, crazy ways that I have shaved weight out of my backpack. So should I go and get the first piece of gear that we're going to talk about? Should I? All right, let's do it. I have recently went and picked myself up a Nitecore Nu25 headlamp. The Nu25 is highly regarded as one of the best, if not the best, ultralight backpacking headlamps out there on the market. The headlamp itself weighs 28 grams or just a hair under 1 ounce, which is ridiculously lightweight for a little powerful headlamp like the Nu25. And honestly, the only drawback to the Nu25 for me personally is the strap that it comes with. I'm just not a fan of how big and bulky the strap is. I mean, the strap on the Nu25 weighs 24 grams, which is almost as much as the weight of the headlamp itself. So obviously I have popped the strap off of the Nu25 and I have replaced it with a little bit of shock cord. Now, the weight savings on this, I'm gonna tell you, ladies and gents, it is a whopping, and I mean whopping, 14 grams. That's right, the shock cord head strap that I currently have on my Nitecore Nu25, including the little toggle here so I can tighten it and loosen it, and it's, you know, adjustable so it's not a one size fits all. This is a 10 gram chunk of shock cord. It kind of looks like crap. My knots are not all that pretty, but hey, it is functional, it works. For a headlamp this size, the Nu25 being less than an ounce, you really do not need a 1 ounce strap for this headlamp. It is so lightweight that the shock cord is gonna hold it in place. This thing is not gonna move, it's not gonna fall off no matter how much I thrash my head. Whew, got a little dizzy from that one. I have gone to the ridiculous lengths of replacing the shock cord. I added the shock cord. I have replaced the head strap on my Nitecore Nu25 with a piece of shock cord, and I have shaved myself a whopping 14 grams by doing this. Big pat on the back for me. Do I get a gold star? Now, as I had the shock cord out to replace the head strap on my Nitecore Nu25, I took a quick little glance over at my lowly Toaks Titanium 550mm cook pot and got to thinking, my crazy little brain just got spinning. And the very first thing that I looked at was the little stuff sack that comes with the Toaks Titanium pots. Now, the stuff sacks on the Toaks pots are pretty lightweight. This guy here for the Toaks 550 comes in at 14 grams. But my crazy little gram weenie brain got to thinking, what could we use with our cook pot to keep everything stored and contained that's a little bit lighter than the Toaks stuff sack? And like I mentioned, we had the shock cord out. And as I stand here looking ridiculous, holding it in front of my blue shirt, because that's probably about the only way you're gonna see it, is replacing the stuff sack from my Toaks Titanium 550 cook pot with a little loop of shock cord. Now, what this piece of shock cord is going to do is hold the lid on my cook pot, which is going to hold all of the contents inside my cook pot. Now, what this little piece of shock cord is going to do is hold the lid of my cook pot on, which is going to contain all of the contents of my cook pot and keep everything from spilling out. So I'm just going to take the piece of shock cord, slide it over top, and it's going to hold everything nicely in place. Obviously, if I had an elastic band in my house, I could have just used an elastic band. And when this first came to my head to switch out the stuff sack with a little piece of, shock cord, I actually went looking for an elastic band, and I just simply didn't have one, and I had shock cord with me at the time. So I cut up a little loop of shock cord, and this loop of shock cord here is a booming 4 grams, so it's going to shave me 9 grams of weight out of my backpack. Holy crap, look at me go. And as I'm looking at my cook pot and I start looking at my entire cook system altogether, I pull out my little DIY Fancy Feast cat food can stove, and this is what I've been using for about the last year and a half. This thing is wicked. I love my little homemade stove. It's pretty lightweight at 24 grams, so the cat food can alcohol stove is actually lighter than the BRS stove, but I thought to myself, Can we make our stove even lighter and shave a little bit more weight? The answer absolutely is yes. I was able to shave another 20 grams out of my backpacking kit by simply taking a orange Monster Energy can. I kind of just made myself my own little version of the pretty popular Spiguyver Stove, and I was able to save 20 grams out of my backpacking kit. This little aluminum can stove here, which boils water roughly about the same speed as my cat food can stove, comes in at a banging 4 grams. Yeah, ridiculously lightweight. It's gonna fit on my pod and store all the same way. So that's what we're gonna be going with for a stove for the 2021 backpacking season. And like I said, we just shaved off another 20 grams. All of this weight shaved off our back. We are just gonna crush miles on trail. We are gonna get, all of the girls are gonna be so impressed with how much more distance we can travel on trail. So if you're looking at a way of shaving some more weight in your backpack, grab a pop can out of your recycling bin, hack it up, do a little bit of folding, make yourself up one of these cool little Spiguyver stoves. I will put a link to Spiguyver's video on how he makes his stoves down in the description box if you guys are interested in checking that out. And now the reason you clicked on this video, because it was in the thumbnail. That's right, I have become that guy. I have trimmed down my toothbrush, and I am going with a little cut off piece of a toothbrush for the 2021 backpacking season. Now, prior to becoming ridiculous with the weight that I was shaving off my back, I was using this guy here. This is from a company called Tubes. It's just a little tiny travel toothbrush. This thing is pretty lightweight, coming in at 24 grams with the little cover included. Not really too heavy. It's even got a little slot in the bottom where you can slide a little refillable toothpaste tube, which is pretty handy. But this is what I was using previously for a toothbrush. Obviously, a toothbrush is not going to last forever. I've had this one for longer than I probably should have. It's kind of a little brown and yellowish here, so it was definitely time to replace it. I thought to myself, what could I do to get a new toothbrush and shave a little bit of weight out of my backpacking kit? And this is what we have come up with. I literally just took one of my toothbrushes that I was using at home, and I just cut the head off of it. Yeah, it's probably one of the most ridiculous things that I've personally ever done when it comes to shaving weight out of my backpacking kit. I used to make fun of people that did this all the time, and now I've become one of those gram weenie people that is cutting the head off of a toothbrush, and I'm going to use this to brush my teeth on a backpacking trip. It's going to work perfectly fine. I can get it into every part of my mouth that I need to keep clean. So yeah, I'm going to be going with this guy here as my toothbrush. The Tubes toothbrush, or my old one, was coming in at 24 grams. And the cut up toothbrush that I'm going to be using for the 2021 backpacking season, 4 freaking grams. And when we add up all of these changes that we've talked about in today's video, I have shaved myself about 100 grams or 3.5 ounces out of my backpacking kit. And if that is something that you're looking to do and just shave a little bit more weight out of your backpack, and you're looking at some more tips that I haven't talked about in today's video, I've got an entire playlist built up of backpacking weight saving tips, and I'll slide that right here for you. So when you're done watching this video, find a video in that playlist there, check that out. And as always, I am Matty. Thank you so dang much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.